The Dallas Wings are heading into one of the most challenging off-seasons in franchise history, and has nothing to do with a bad season or a failed playoff run. On the contrary, this is what success in the WNBA looks like in 2025. You draft and develop a star, build a deep young roster around her, and almost as soon as it starts to click, the league's expansion draft walks in like a storm and threatens to pull pieces away. That is exactly where Dallas is now with Paige Bueckers. Bueckers just finished a monster rookie season, instantly changing the ceiling of the franchise and earning WNBA Rookie of the Year honors. She's not just a talented guard. She's the type of player you build an entire organization around. A scoring threat, an elite passer, a competitor, and a name that moves tickets and television eyeballs. For the first time in a long time, the Wings have a centerpiece that feels like it can carry them for the next decade. But at the same time, the WNBA is growing, and that growth comes with a cost. The league has officially awarded expansion teams to Toronto and Portland. The Toronto Tempo and the Portland Fire are set to join for the 2026 season, and that means an expansion draft is coming. That draft is designed to stock the new teams with talent, and the way it works is simple and brutal. Every existing team can only protect a limited number of players. Everyone else is fair game. For a team like Dallas, which has built a roster loaded with young, affordable, developing talent, that's terrifying. This isn't a veteran-heavy finals team with a short window and a bunch of 30-somethings. This is a franchise that just landed its potential generational cornerstone in Paige Bueckers, has another star in Eric Ogunbowl, has quietly stacked up underrated young pieces like Paige Bueckers and Haley Jones. The Wings are at the beginning of something. Expansion drafts don't care about that. According to The Athletic's Ben Pickman, when the expansion draft finally happens, Dallas is almost guaranteed to be one of the first rosters picked apart by the Tempo or Fire. The rules, based on past WNBA expansions, will likely allow each team to protect 5 players. After that, it's open season. Even if Dallas does everything right, they simply cannot protect everybody. Pickman highlighted 3 names that jump off the page in this situation: Paige Bueckers and Haley Jones. All 3 will be 27 or younger heading into the 2026 season. All 3 have contracts that are team-friendly enough that an expansion franchise could not only draft them, but realistically re-sign them, giving the new team a long runway with serious upside. Those are exactly the types of players expansion teams target. Young, ascending, not yet on max deals, but already proven enough that you know what you're getting. Paige Bueckers has become one of the most intriguing centers in the WNBA. She brings size, touch around the rim, and the rare ability to stretch the floor as a big. Her three-point shooting has climbed into real weapon territory, and last season she hit a career-best 36.4% from beyond the arc. She is not just a role player. In advanced metrics like on-off net rating, only Paige Bueckers herself posted a higher impact on the Wings. When Leah's on the floor, Dallas plays better at both ends. Coaches and analytics staffs across the league notice numbers like that. Bueckers, meanwhile, is all about versatility and upside. At 6 feet 4 inches with length, mobility, and a growing feel for the game, she fits the mold of the modern WNBA forward who can guard multiple positions, switch on defense, rebound, and eventually become a perimeter threat. She hasn't fully broken out yet, but the flashes are obvious in a league that increasingly values players who can do a bit of everything. Bueckers looks like someone on the verge of a leap. Haley Jones brings something different: guard skills and a big frame, a playmaking mind, and a style that doesn't need 20 shots to impact a game. Coming out of Stanford, she was known for her high basketball IQ, her passing, and her ability to control tempo. She's still finding her footing at the pro level, but you can easily see a team like Portland or Toronto handing her more responsibility and building part of their offensive identity around her strengths. For Dallas, these 3 form a crucial layer in their long-term plans. They give Bueckers and the Wings a young core that can grow into the 2030s. Losing even one of them in the expansion draft would hurt. Losing more than one would fundamentally alter the trajectory of this roster. Then there's Eric Ogunbowl, who looms over all of this as a different kind of question. Eric is already a multi-time All-Star, one of the top scorers in the league, and a player who carried Dallas offensively before Bueckers arrived. She is electric with the ball in her hands, hits big shots, and has a real fan base. But her contractual situation changes how she fits into the expansion math. Pickman pointed out that Ogunbo, as an unrestricted free agent going into 2026, could technically be left unprotected in the expansion draft by Dallas. That doesn't mean she's suddenly up for grabs, the same way a player on a normal contract would be. Any expansion team that wanted to take Erike would have to use a core designation on her to truly secure her rights, which is a serious commitment in WNBA roster planning. Would Portland or Toronto spend their most precious tool on a high-usage veteran guard, instead of using it down the line on someone they draft and develop themselves? That's a gamble. It also means Dallas could potentially focus their protected slots on younger, longer-term building blocks, trusting that the mechanics of free agency and core tags might steer expansion teams away from Erike. This is where the front office earns its money. They have to weigh who is most likely to be targeted versus who is most essential to their long-term identity. All of this leads to the biggest name in the room, Paige Bueckers. On paper, any talk of Bueckers being taken in an expansion draft feels like pure fantasy. You don't trade or expose your Rookie of the Year and future franchise star. And in reality, the chances of Dallas allowing her to be anywhere near the expansion pool are near zero. Every credible projection has her locked in as one of the 5 protected players. No debate. There's also an off-court piece that quietly solidifies this. The expectation that Azzi Fudd, Bueckers' longtime friend and backcourt partner from UConn, will arrive in the WNBA and land on the same team in 2026. If that happens, it gives the Wings a marketable, ready-made storyline, a reunited college duo that fans already love, and a backcourt with huge offensive upside. Front offices do think about that. It's not just sentiment. It's ticket sales, TV slots, sponsorships, and continuity. So if Bueckers isn't going anywhere, and Erike's situation is complex, who becomes the most likely first victim of the expansion draft? The name that keeps bubbling to the surface in most mock drafts and front office speculation is Lee Ueru. She's 26, coming off her best season as a pro, and fits neatly into what expansion teams crave. A productive, experienced center who can score, rebound, defend the paint, and step out to hit threes. She posted career highs last year in points, rebounds, and blocks, while also adding that 36.4% from deep. Advanced stats love her. Coaches trust her. She's young enough to give you 5 or more strong seasons. That combination is rare. Normally, players like that are either on big contracts or already locked in as franchise cornerstones. Lee is in that sweet spot where she's impactful but not yet fully paid like a star. That's exactly why people around the league think she'll be one of the very first names called when Toronto or Portland are on the clock. If an expansion team wants to make a splash with its first pick, there's a logic to grabbing someone like Lee Ueru. She might not yet be a household name like Bueckers or Ogunbo, but among GMs and scouts, she is respected. Add to that the fact that only Bueckers had a better on-off net rating for Dallas last season, and you start to see why losing her would be no small thing. For Dallas, the idea of me walking out the door that way feels like a punch. You did the work to bring her in, to develop her in your system, to give her a platform where she thrived, and now, because of the league structure, you might have to watch her anchor someone else's paint. This is a hidden cost of WNBA expansion. On one hand, adding the Toronto Tempo and Portland Fire is objectively good. More jobs, more markets, more visibility for women's basketball. Fans in Canada and the Pacific Northwest finally get home teams. The league's talent pool is deep enough now that expansion makes sense. On the other hand, teams like the Wings, who have scouted well and drafted smart, are essentially being told, thank you for doing your homework. Now hand over part of your future to someone who hasn't played a single game yet. Dallas isn't the only franchise facing this tension, but because of how young and promising their core is, they feel it more than most. In the short term, the front office will sit down with a whiteboard and a salary cap sheet and try to map out every angle. Who do you protect? Bueckers is obvious. Do you lock in Erike despite her contract status? Or gamble that expansion teams look elsewhere? Do you prioritize frontcourt stability and keep Lee safe, hoping that the raw upside of Coeur or Jones won't tempt an expansion GM too much? Or do you protect pure potential and accept that you might lose a more polished contributor? There are no perfect answers. Whatever Dallas does, they will leave at least one very good player exposed, and that player will have a target on their back. In the longer term, the key for the Wings is to remember why they're in this position in the first place. They drafted well, developed talent, and struck gold in Paige Bueckers. Losing someone like Liuer would hurt. But it doesn't erase the fact that they have a 22-year-old Rookie of the Year who has the game and the mentality to be one of the faces of the WNBA for the next decade. The looming arrival of Azzi Fudd and the continued growth of players like Bueckers and Haley Jones give Dallas multiple paths forward, even if the expansion draft takes a bigger bite than they'd like. For fans, the next few months will be a strange mix of excitement and anxiety. On one side, you get to think about Bueckers in year 2, the possibility of her reuniting with Fudd, another offseason of development for the rest of the young core, and what this team might look like in 2026 and beyond. On the other, you have to live with the knowledge that the WNBA's expansion draft will likely cost you a player you've grown attached to. For the Toronto Tempo and Portland Fire, it's the opposite. They'll enter this process like kids walking into a candy store, knowing that every unprotected name on a list is a chance to accelerate their launch from expansion afterthought to real competitor. Somewhere, probably quietly in an office in Arlington, the Dallas Wings decision-makers are already running scenarios, making phone calls, and trying to game out how they can walk through this chaos and come out with Paige Bueckers still surrounded by enough talent to chase a WNBA title. That's the reality they face now, building a future around a star while knowing that a league-mandated draft can pull apart your plans in one afternoon. And in a league as tight and competitive as the WNBA is now, those one or two players you lose can be the difference between hosting a finals game and watching on TV. The question isn't whether Dallas will get hit by expansion. They will. The question is how hard, and whether Paige Bueckers and the teammates who remain can turn that challenge into just another chapter in a bigger success story.